Hey guys, Rami here with your third stimulus check update and stimulus package update for February 3rd. We have big news that came out yesterday from the Senate where they passed a procedural motion to move ahead with the budget reconciliation, which paves the way to the $1.9 trillion package. Now, I don't want you to see other videos where they say the Senate passed the $1.9 trillion deal. That's not what happened. They just passed a motion where they can go ahead with the budget reconciliation where they won't need any Republican support. So this is huge news. And in terms of timing, I don't know how long it's going to take them to actually put this thing together and move it along. It's going to take some time, especially with a budget recon. And also, I still believe that we're not going to see a material bill and something actually pass until sometime in the middle of March. I hope it doesn't push to April. I'm really hoping for March, but we'll see what happens because this is where we're going to have the economic cliff of the unemployment expiring again. Just like I said in my last video, last time when that expired in December, they moved very quickly to pass the $900 billion deal in December, just a couple days after, or maybe the very next day after that unemployment insurance expired. So I really think the same thing will happen here. They're going to keep arguing. They're going to keep negotiating with the Republicans to try to do something bipartisan. But the way that this is moving along and how fast they're moving with this budget reconciliation moves and with what Bernie Sanders said on the Senate floor yesterday, which I will share with you in a moment. But it seems like the only way to get this deal, to get a nice stimulus package, the $1.9 trillion package, will be through the budget reconciliation. So let's go ahead and read some things that came out today. And also I'll share with you what Bernie Sanders, the Senate Budget Committee chair, said on the Senate floor yesterday. This is going to be very, very important. So let's go ahead and look at this. So here it says, while President Joe Biden continues to discuss a stimulus deal with Republicans, Democrats are readying a procedure that would allow them to pass much of the legislation without any Republican votes. The Senate passed a procedural motion with a 50-49 vote to move forward with a budget resolution, clearing the way for passing many provisions included in President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus package through reconciliation on Tuesday. So they got 50 Democrats to vote for this and 49 Republicans vote against it, with one Republican not voting. And Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said that Joe Biden is totally on board with using reconciliation. I've been talking to him every day. Our staffs have been talking multiple times a day. So just so you know, the reconciliation process is a budget rule that would allow Democrats to pass some relief provisions with a simple majority of 51 votes and would not require support from GOP senators. Both the House and the Senate budget committees would write the budget resolution. The Senate has limited time to debate it, and there's no filibuster once the process ends. While the debate is limited, the resolution could be further delayed by a vote-a-rama that allows lawmakers to make endless amendments to the resolution. So this could be one way where Republicans can delay things and push around. They can just start throwing in some amendments that mean nothing, but that's just a guess. And they use these things. Politicians use these things to try to delay and try to push, and we'll see how the Democrats will handle that. And then Senator Joe Manchin, which a lot of people are calling him the Mitch McConnell of the Democrats, he said that he would support the advancement of the budget resolution, but is hopeful that we can have bipartisan support moving forward. I will vote to move forward with the budget process because we must address the urgency of the COVID-19 crisis. But let me be clear, and these are words I shared with President Biden, our focus must be targeted on the COVID-19 crisis and Americans who have been most impacted by this pandemic. And just I want to say something here. Yeah, I saw this. So the problem with this budget resolution is that the resolution must include items that affect the overall spending or revenue of the federal government. While some provisions like the $1,400 stimulus payments and extended unemployment benefits could easily qualify for the reconciliation process, others, like the $15 minimum wage, may not. I know that they want to pass the $15 minimum wage through this budget reconciliation, and Bernie Sanders talks about it in his speech, which I'll show you in a minute. But I also read somewhere that maybe they're not going to add this to the budget recon because it may not qualify, so we'll see what happens with that. I also wanted to show you this over here. It says the reconciliation process does have its limits, however. Senate rules dictate that any legislation passed through this budgetary maneuver must have a direct effect on spending or revenue, and based on how Democrats wrote the resolution, it cannot increase the deficit by more than $1.9 trillion over the next 10 years. And it also says here the same thing, that may make it difficult to pass some of President Joe Biden's proposals, like increasing the federal minimum wage of $15 or making more permanent changes to unemployment insurance. And of course, again, Joe Manchin here is opposing some of the Democrats, some of the stuff that the Democrats want, like the $15. He said, he told reporters, he supported a level that was responsible and reasonable. He said in his state that might be an $11 minimum wage when adjusted for inflation. So it seems like, Joe Manchin is one of the Democrats that's trying to be in the middle or something, and he's against some of the stuff that the majority of the Democrats want. But we'll see how much pull he can get. Now, I want to share with you a quick video of Bernie Sanders on the Senate floor yesterday and what he said about passing this bill through the budget reconciliation. So let's listen in.
Mr. President, let us be clear and let us in the Senate understand what the American people know all too well. And that is that our country is currently experiencing the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression and the worst public health emergency in over 100 years. Over half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck, including millions of essential workers who put their lives on the line each and every day. The wealthiest people in America are becoming much wealthier, and income and wealth inequality, a long-time problem, is now soaring. Incredibly, while families throughout the country are struggling to put food on the table to feed their kids, during this pandemic, 660 billionaires, not a whole lot of people, have increased their wealth by over $1 trillion. The budget...
I can believe that. I mean, Elon Musk from Tesla alone, I think he increased his net worth from the beginning of 2020 to the end of 2020. He started at maybe 24 or 27 billion. And I think he's close to 200 billion now, if not more. So, I mean, that's insane. I mean, he's a good guy, Elon Musk. I think he's very reasonable even in his politics, and he's doing great things for the environment, and his product goes very, very well with what the Democrats want, with the climate change and electric vehicles, and they might introduce the electric vehicle credit again, the $7,500 when you buy an electric car, which will even make him probably richer because that people will buy more electric cars. Anyway.
The solution we are debating today is simple and it is straightforward. It will enable us to pass President Biden's $1.9 trillion emergency COVID relief plan through reconciliation with 51 votes instead of 60. Now, Mr. President, I have heard from some of my Republican colleagues who tell us that, well, this reconciliation concept, that's a radical idea. Why are you using reconciliation? And they're telling us that it is absolutely imperative that we go forward in a bipartisan way and require 60 votes for passage. But I must say that when Republicans used this same reconciliation process, Mr. President, I didn't hear much about bipartisanship at that point. In fact, Republicans used the reconciliation process to provide trillions of dollars in tax breaks to the top 1% and large profitable corporations by a simple majority vote. My Republican colleagues pushed through their nominee for the Supreme Court with 50 votes.
Just a quick point about this tax breaks that passed. I think he's talking about what President Trump passed in 2017. He keeps saying it's only for the billionaires and the 1%. I'm not anywhere close to that. And I saw my paycheck increasing, every time I got a paycheck from my job, it was higher. So there was some tax breaks for middle class also, but I mean, I'm just pointing it out.
A few weeks before the election, not one Democrat supported that nominee. Totally partisan vote. Well, as the incoming chair of the Senate Budget Committee, this is what I believe If Republicans can use reconciliation to help the wealthy and the powerful and pass legislation strongly opposed by the American people, we can and must use reconciliation to help Americans recover from the worst economic and public health crisis in the modern history of our country. In other words, now is the time for this Congress to stand with the working class and the middle class of this country and do what the overwhelming majority of the American people want us to do. Mr. President, it is worth pointing out that poll after poll shows an overwhelming majority of Americans, over 70%, support what President Biden and what we are trying to do. They know we have got to act boldly. So I hope we will not hear much more about bipartisanship, given my Republican colleagues' record on that issue. The people who go to work every day, who keep our country going, who put their lives on the line during this pandemic, and they look at us and they say, does anybody there in Washington, oh, you rich guys, do you understand what's going on in our lives? Well, this week during this debate, we are not only going to begin addressing the health and economic and educational crises we face, but maybe even more importantly, we're going to begin the process of restoring faith in the United States government. Maybe, just maybe, we can do what Abraham Lincoln talked about in the midst of the terrible Civil War, and that is be a government, act like a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and not just powerful special interests and their lobbyists. What will this budget resolution mean for the average American? I know we're throwing out a lot of numbers, 1.9 trillion, a lot of money. What does it actually mean? How is it going to impact the lives of ordinary people? So let me just say a few words on that. Everybody is concerned about the pandemic, which has taken so many lives and caused so much illness and suffering. What this legislation is about is an effort to aggressively crush the pandemic and enable the American people to return to their jobs and schools by providing the funding necessary to establish a national emergency program to produce the quantity of vaccines that we need. We need to increase vaccine production, and equally important, we need to significantly improve the distribution of vaccines so that we get them into the arms of people as quickly as we can. What this legislation means is that during this severe economic downturn, we must make sure that every American, low-income people, working-class people, middle-class people, have the financial resources that they need to live with dignity. This budget resolution will allow us to keep the promises that we made to the American people and increase the $600 in direct payments for working-class adults and their kids up to $2,000, another $1,400. And Mr. President, I want you just to think, whether it's Connecticut or Vermont or South Carolina or any place else, you think that during this terrible crisis, what it will mean to an average family to suddenly get a check for $5,600 for a family of four on top of the $600 per person that they received a few weeks ago. Think about what that will mean to people who are losing hope right now.
All right, so he keeps going on with explaining what else is into the reconciliation package, the stimulus package, which is the $400 unemployment and the money for the schools and the state and local government and everything else. But what he said here, the $5,600 for a family of four, that's a lot of money, and I'm sure it will mean paying rent, getting groceries, putting food on the table, paying some back bills. It will mean a lot for families who need this money, and we need it now, especially after the year we've had last year and what's still been going on. We still are in the middle of this pandemic. So $5,600 definitely means a lot for these families. And I hope, I hope it passes. I hope this passes. The problem is with this, he started with the vaccine distribution and getting money to help with the vaccine production and vaccine distribution. This is huge in order to get us back to normal. The $1,400, this is a big promise that Joe Biden himself promised when he was campaigning for the Georgia runoff elections. The two senators in Georgia campaigned on this too, the $2,000. Some people interpret it as additional $2,000, but we all knew it's just making the $600 to a total of $2,000, which is an additional $1,400. But anyway, the bill that the Republicans introduced had $1,000 stimulus checks. That's not going to fly. Joe Biden cannot break his promise, and all these senators cannot break their promise and pass $1,000 instead of the $1,400 that they've been saying they want since President Trump said it when he was still president. So $1,400 has to be the number. Now it's just a matter of time and a matter of to see when they can actually put it together and pass it. Like I said, I don't see it happening before the middle of March. I hope it happens right around the middle of March to avoid the economic cliff of people not getting their unemployment money. This is all I have for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you like this new format. I saw a lot of comments in my last video saying that you guys like this format. I like it a lot. I'm happy. It's actually making me more efficient in getting these videos out for you guys. So hopefully I'll do more, bigger, and better videos for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate every single one of you. Please hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this video with your friends and family, and check out all the links in the description for the Webull investing, the Yada Money savings account with the chance to win up to $10 million. Thank you guys again for watching. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.